Christina, did I entice you to take class with my relaxing voice last time?
Oh, I watched the first 15 minutes because I was watching for Zoom bombers and I was like, I have to do this. It looks so relaxing and I got my mom, she's doing it too.
I have my mom
Thank
on too.
you.
It's a great plan.
Oh, that's cool. I'm so glad. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely, we're very excited.
Okay, so it's 7 by my clock. Do we want to start? Do we want to wait another minute or so?
Yeah, I won't lock it for like 10 or 15 minutes so people can still roll in.
Okay. So if you happen to be here at 7 o'clock sharp, thank you. Again, welcome to another of Candlelight Yoga. I hope you've had a chance to perhaps light a candle of your own. It's nice to have that live flame with you for the practice. But if you didn't, hey, it's not a requirement. You can use mine as well, right? So just take sit and gaze into your candle light. Sit up tall. Center yourself in your seat. And just start to breathe. Breathe deeply. Our breath is the most important part of our yoga practice. It makes the whole thing less effortful. And also breathing deeply, finding the fullness of your inhale and the emptying truly of your exhale. By completing each phase of the breath, by being aware of your breath, it automatically starts to slow when you give it attention. And that's a good thing. Slow and deep breaths. They're going to help bolster our immune system. And that's so important during this time right now. So my motto has been, stay healthy, my fellow humans. So those are the seeds that I want to plant during these practices is, for us to stay healthy, to promote our health as much as we can. When we breathe deeply, we're filling 360 degrees of belly, ribs, and chest, right? Our spine is at our center. And then all that space around the spine, fill it with volumes, right? Let there be space between each vertebra in your spine as you sit up tall. Imagine an imaginary vertical line were falling down from the ceiling, right through the crown of your head, down the central spine towards the floor. And use that imaginary line as a reference to help you be taller in your posture, to have better posture, simply said. Now that we've taken the time and attention to create better posture in our seats and to promote deeper breath into our body, let's start to sync our movement with our breath, slowly circling the spine. Just pick a direction and allow that circling action to be as large of a circle as you can really control. Control body, control breath. We can actually do that. Sometimes it may not feel like it, but please remember, you do control your body and your breath. Changing direction, smoothly changing course. Allowing our breath to feed the movement. And coming back to center. Sitting tall. Let's straddle stretch our legs out. Nice stretch. You don't have to force the legs apart. A good straddle spread. Each leg straightens comfortably. And if you feel rounded back, let's start with the base. Move around through your bottom, right? Shifting through your pelvis, your hips, to be truer to the base, the seat that you're in. To define your hip hinge, because that's where our body flexes and bends forward anatomically correctly. Right? We don't slouch in, that's really not natural. Hip hinge is the way to go. So let's gently find our hip hinge in the moment as we ease our body forward. Continuing to straighten our straddled legs. To keep a sense of elongation happening in your spine. You may be tempted, as we stay here for more breaths, it may be tempting to recoil. Let's not. Unfurl the length of your spine as you fold forward. And breathe. Breathe deeply. Discovering that sense of 360-degree breath. You might be invited, maybe, to put your elbows on the ground. Maybe that wasn't your invitation. Maybe your invite is to stay up a little higher. Please find your degree of forward bend that feels good and produces good stretches. So we really are, this evening in particular, going to be spending a lot more time or more breaths in each pose that we practice. You know, before I'll let out my secrets, we've been hanging out in poses for 3 to 5 breaths recently. Tonight, more like 5 to 8. And 10, can do it. It's in our ability to take a deep breath smoothly in the pose that creates that sense of steadiness and ease. And that's what yoga is all about. Practicing the pose or the asana and practicing it with a sense of steadiness and ease, right? Coming to that point in the pose. Notice how your body is gently changing, transforming over these many breaths. Now slowly, let's sit up. I'm going to scoot back, so extending legs forward on the mat. Again, I'm making any adjustments in your seat that you need to find your hip hinge. And let's lean back. Let's open up the body, leaning back onto elbows for a little fish pose. Spreading across the chest, arcing the heart upward. Leaning your head back gently, right? Don't force it back. Instead, you're allowing your neck and throat space to have a good stretch, right? For that top part of the spine to unfurl. And in your fish pose, your heart is buoyant, right? Upward lifted. As if there's a gentle arc that you're leaning back over. And you can here identify those 360-degree deep breaths, Let them fill you up. It's possible that your chest is starting to feel heavy and collapse inward as you stay in the pose longer. Press down through your elbows to launch your heart upward, right? Continuing to sustain that back bending, heart arcing action. Okay, friends, one more deep breath. And then we'll gently push ourselves up, right? Coming back to sitting staff pose, right? Dandasana, legs straight, sitting tall. Left leg comes in like a little butterfly wing, an angled leg. Repositioning, if your seat shifted, frame your body to fold forward at hip hinge. Find your degree of flexion that feels good as we breathe here in Janu Shirshasana, head to knee pose. Resisting any urge to force ourselves deeper into the pose. Nope. Instead, dial it to the place of steadiness and ease where you can breathe and melt. Right? The real magic is in finding that melting action where the tension is released. And you can really identify all of those qualities upon your thorough exhaling breath. One more deep breath, please. May it be deeply filling and actively emptying. Let's sit up and change sides, translating the pose, regenerating the frame of our body to find our hip hinge as we fold forward. And may your fold forward into Janu Shirshasana pose, may that be a peaceful journey, right, over the next many breaths. One more deep breath. And we rise. Let's shift positions. Let's come to all fours, tabletop position, right? Neutral through hips, equal through shoulders. Arm balance, right? Really even arm balance, shoulders plugged in. Exhale and start to create arc again, curling into cat. And inhale draws us out into cow pose. Let's do that many times. Exhale draws your cat. And inhale draws the cow. Smoothly moving. It's like riding your breath almost, right? Think of that, riding each breath smoothly into each pose. Toes turn under. Let's take a downward facing dog. You can keep your knees slightly bent, right? Micro bending the knees is great because we definitely don't want to lock the legs into straightness, right? The stretch you can get a wonderful stretch from straightening your legs. But if straightening your legs makes your shoulders round or makes you feel heavy and uncomfortable in the wrists, those are indicators that you're going to want to bend your knees so that you pull a truckload of that weight out of your wrists and you take the energy into your core center to lift your tail up. In downward facing dog, all of the straightness, the straightening really wants to happen, the lengthening in your arms and your spine. Think of if you have a dog at home and you've watched them do their own downward facing dog, they produce an enormous amount of length from their front paws to their tail behind them. It's awesome to watch. And now I know you've been there a while. Good job. Knees to the ground. Let's take child's pose. You're going to balance on the center of your forehead. Give yourself a little room between the knees to breathe. Balasana. When you've positioned yourself really well in Balasana, the child's pose, you can engage that 360-degree breathing, right? Expansive breath. Maybe you feel a little bit of a stretch happening in your ankles, through your hips. Definitely stretching, lengthening through your spine, through your neck, right? Your neck and head are part of the spine. Please consider them so all the time. Bring your alignment from your base all the way through your crown, right? Consider that whole path of spine. One more deep breath. And then slowly, right, rise and change positions. Come to your seats, please. Legs out in front of you again. Move around through your base to make yourself comfortable in Dandasana, the staff pose, which we are sitting in. Right leg, bend and hug, right? And that hugging, connecting action to the right leg allows us to sit a little taller. And then from our tallest spine that we've created, we're going to rotate through the rib cage towards the inner thigh. My left arm starts to take the grip of the right leg. Shoulders low, head high. Breathe deep. Maybe you look back over your right shoulder, but not straining or craning the neck to do that, right? Keep your head in alignment with the rest of your spine and tall. All right, let's face forward, right? Untwisting. Don't leave it yet. We come back to our starting position. Now my left hand, right, left leg's extended, left hand to ground. Right foot pushes down. A nice little stretch, arm balance. 2 more deep breaths, right, in that upward arm balance. And hips to ground, coming back to the start. And we'll change. Right leg straightens, left leg bends. Sitting up tall, right? Aligning with vertical line in the spine. And then twisting towards the left leg. Twists need to be tall first, right? There's an order of operations to them. Twists are tall. And then they rotate most profoundly at the rib cage space, thoracic space. And we'll release our twist, facing forward, staying in our start position. Right hand to ground or mat, right? Wherever it feels comfortable to take the arm balance. And slowly we bring our hips back down to the ground. Good job. Both legs come into butterfly, right? Baddha Konasana. Bound angle pose. Footprints, they're meeting. Our footprints are meeting. Our knees are, gently falling apart. We define our hip hinge again as we sit up tall. So let's all actually go tall, vertically tall, and then lean back a little bit. Have a nice stretch through the neck and shoulders. And then as you come back forward, decide how far you're going to fold, if at all. Baddha Konasana does not have to bend forward, but it can if that feels good in your body. Listen to your body. That's a really important part of practicing yoga, right? The first thing that I've talked about was yoga is so important to the practice. Breath is so important to the practice of yoga. That's what I wanted to say. But so is listening to your body awareness. How is your body feeling in Baddha Konasana in the moment? Is it straining or is it melting into the stretch? That's where the stretch reflex is really elicited and most effective. When we are not straining, when we are breathing and melting. Let's sit back, extend legs, let's ease back, drop the lines, fish pose, elbows to ground, heart lifts buoyantly, spreading across the chest and heart. Truing your back bending and shoulder opening actions. And filling 360 degrees of your body, right? Belly, ribs, and chest. Fill that space. One more breath in your fish pose, Matsyasana. And then go ahead and rise up again. Sit up. Legs forward. Right leg comes in. Let's take our twist. We'll untwist, right? Facing forward, finding start position. Left hand to ground. Upward hips into our side planking variation, right? Looks kind of like a wild thing pose. Bottom to ground, coming back to your start position. And then we'll change. Generating the pose on the other side, hugging left leg, sitting tall. And once tall, then we take our twist. And we untwist, face forward, start position. Right hand to mat and ground. Taking our upward action. We're balancing on the right arm, creating a little wild thing pose. Hips to ground, back to our start position. Good job. Legs together, or feet together, legs apart, better said. Baddha Konasana, back to the bound angle pose. Now, we did our straddle earlier. Actually, let's do it again. Straddle legs out, okay? And from here, no hands. Bring your feet back together. Sit up tall. And then open again. Straddle out. Rearrange your seat to be comfy in it for balance. And then come back, feet together. Baddha Konasana. Good work. Knees come together. A little boat pose. Right? And now in the boat pose, let's bring that element of butterfly in. We go for our big toes. We hold this butterflied boat pose. And maybe you know what comes next. Legs extend, right? Butterflied boat pose. Legs extending outward into our big wide boat pose, Upavista Konasana. Breathe deeply. Check in with your back. Is your back rounding? Let's launch the heart upward as we hold on for another 2 deep breaths. And then come back to your butterfly boat pose. Feet to ground. Legs extend. Third time into our fish pose. Going fishing again. Elbow balance. Heart launches upward. Neck and throat have a nice stretch as the head leans backward. Could you create a little more arc in the spine? Does that feel good? And now we'll sit up. Left leg comes into angle. Janu Shirshasana. coming back for another round of these seated, one leg extended, forward folding. And the action of folding forward is peaceful as you're breathing. Making sure that when you check in with your body, that you're lengthening the spine along the right extended leg. Let's change side. New Shirshasana, left leg extended forward, folding and breathing. Let's sit up, changing into tabletop position again, please. Let's take the round of our cat-cow flow, engaging our body from our base, our bottom floor, emphasis to the top crown of the head. Slowly rolling through the spine, segment by segment. And back to tabletop position. We're going to arm balance yet again. If you've been to prior candlelight yoga classes, we have done this variation before. So shifting onto your right hand, right knee, the right leg can move out or stay in line with the side of the mat. It's all about comfort and balance for you and your body. We're at an arm balancing side planking option. My left foot is on the ground at the back of the mat, helping balance. But if you like, you can lift the left leg up, right? Engaging long leg, level with your hips and body. And slowly we lower foot and hand back to ground, knee down to. Let's shift sides. To the left we go. Steadying ourselves in this side planking variation. And then making the decision, will it feel good to lift right leg up from the ground? Leveling right leg with your right hip and body. Slowly lowering back down to the ground, hand, foot, and knee. Back to our seat. Good job, everybody. Bound angle, here we are again. Bound angle, maybe you're folding forward into it, right? If that feels naturally good, follow that invitation that your body is giving you. If your body says stay up taller, do that, right? Do you? And we sit up and straddle legs out. Coming back to, one of the first poses that we practiced tonight. Straddled legs, finding our degree of flexion forward that feels good. And breathe. Breathe deeply. Enjoy the experience of breathing in this pose. We're going to be here for 2 more deep breaths. And slowly we come out of the pose again. Turning around so you can see lying back better. Lie back on your back. Right, we're going to give our back a nice rest. Feet planted evenly, knees bent as we lie back. Let your arms, the backs of your arms, the backs of your shoulders, they're rested. Let the ground catch those muscles. Let the ground hold and support them. As you breathe, you feel, again, 360 degrees of belly, rib cage, chest space. It's filling up. Now we'll encourage right knee. Give it a hug. You don't have to crush the leg as you hold it, right? A gentle hug, tucking in the leg, hugging your tucked leg. Option tonight to leave the left leg as is, or you can straighten the left leg along the ground. What feels better? Now let's take our right leg that we're hugging and be like Baddha Konasana with that one right leg, the angled leg. So what's happening is we're making a tree pose here on the ground. So you can grow your branches above your head, like a little V-shaped victory arms, wide arms. How do you grow your branches along the ground? We'll consider this a reclining tree pose. Notice if your left hip is lifting up from the ground. Anchor the hips down equally as you stretch through your body and extended leg. And now come back to hugging your right knee to chest. And we'll cross the right leg over the body. Rest your right inner foot on the ground. Shoulders do their best to anchor back. Let's breathe. And back to center to right knee to chest pose. And let's change legs. Releasing right leg and left knee tucks into body. We hug our tucked left leg. And now let's find our reclined tree pose. Hips neutral, arms extend, branches grow. How do you like your branches to grow? But there's even stretches through your arms and through the right and left sides of the spine. Now let's give left leg a hug again, and we'll cross over into our twisting pose. The left inner foot rests on the ground. Spread your arms and shoulders across the floor. Your chest, arms are expansive in the moment. And your breath is filling up all of that gorgeous new space that you found in your body, in your practice this evening. One more deep breath. May you fill your cup. And back to center. Give both legs a big hug. Just the final pose, knees to chest, both legs being held. Give your body permission to have a little movement, a little rock, a little roll through the hips. But the movement, it's soothing, not confusing. And if you are moving, still that movement, center, and let your feet float back down to the ground. And when they touch down, extend your legs, extend your arms, and rest your body evenly. We have come to our final pose, our final relaxation pose, Shavasana. If you feel like your feet are very close together in the moment, let your heels part away from one another. And let your heels part maybe even as far as the side edges of your mat. And that space that you created, it allows your heels to rest evenly heavy so that each leg right up to your thighs and hips starts to feel a little more relaxed as well. hips and shoulders and elbows. Those joint areas are all resting evenly heavy, supported sweetly by the ground beneath you. And keep breathing. Notice how our attention to our breath and our attention to position in body alignment, those things are so valuable in creating an inner flow, to creating more flow in how you move day to day. Now is the time to look for hidden opportunities. The difference between opportunity and obstacle is often just our point of view. Always keep an open mind, even in the darkest situations. A change in our vantage point can reveal rich possibilities. What we have before us are some breathtaking opportunities disguised as insoluble problems. May you create more moments to move and breathe. And that really helps to change the vantage point from which we see things. A clearer mind, a happier body. I hope your body feels very happy after your practice this evening. Thank you for being here.